This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of the Draft Room right here on MVP Sports. I am joined with my co-host, my two guard, my one guard, my front court brethren, wherever you want to put us. I'm done trying to figure out where we would be on a basketball court. Dave Oster, how we doing? Or head coach, assistant coach, GM,
More
player
likely.
operations. Oh,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
owner, like.
That's the most likely scenario you've laid out so far for us. I'm good moving away from the front court, back court conversation. We clearly do not have the talent for that.
I feel like I hold my own on the three-point arc.
Do not.
I'm not Mantis at the line though. I'm not. This boy is not bent. Let's put it that way. I am not bent. I am no Jersey Jerry. Also, I'm not going to sit there. What was that? 5 hours took him to break Caitlin Clark's record.
It was a long time.
It was a long time. Was it? I think it was 5 hours, but I think it should be more than that. But welcome into the draft room right here on MVP. We're talking basketball this week. Before we get into everything, though, let me go through the housekeeping. Number one, Discord, greatest community in the universe. Join that down below. If you want to support our Patreon, you can do that as well. You can watch this live like the patrons are right now. You can also check out our mock draft for the NBA. It is up, Dave. Well, the sheet is up. You can see the inner workings of what's going on behind the scenes, and I'm throwing it out because Soapy Muffins has an interesting one, Dave. They cannot see it unless they're a patron at the basic membership. Dave, if you've not seen it, just take a gander at Soapy's mock for his 1.0 because it is chef's kiss. It is the beautiful, just chef's kiss. Kudos to Soapy for his mock draft that took him a very, very long time to do. You can also you can also comment down below. Let us know what you guys think, as well as hitting that subscribe button and helping us out with that algorithm and hitting the like button as well. Also check out BetUS, if I could say them right. Link down in the description to get your sign up bonus. We'll hear about more from them or about them later in the cast. But Dave, what we're talking about today is tourney time. We're about a week out. This Sunday coming up, we're going to get the teams. Who's in, who's out, who's dancing, who's sitting at home, who's standing on the sidelines being a wallflower at the high school dance. We get to find that out on Sunday. We're just going to basically bounce around guys that we think need big-time tourney performances to maybe help their draft stock. Is there anything that any guys can do? And to start, I'm going to basically... You're going to be Neo for a second, Dave. Which pill do you want to take? Do you want to take my left hand or my right hand? Because I could go either way with any of these of who I want to throw out first. So who you taking, left or right?
Let's go left.
Dave, you chose the Marquette Golden Eagles. The other one was Illinois. I didn't know whether to start with Marquette or Illinois. And here's the reason why I want to start with them. Is mainly for Tyler Kolek. And the reason why, we've seen what he could do this year. He had played. He's been injured for the last, I think 2 weeks at least, or 2 weekends of games. It keeps saying, whenever you look at the injury report, late March. Don't know if that's going to be a round one where he comes in middle March, or if that means, they got to get through round 1 and round 2, and then he'd be back for the Sweet 16. Right now, Joe Lunardi has them as the 2 seed. They'd be matching up against Quinnipiac, who's a very good team from the lower conferences. And then if Joe Lunardi is right, they would either play Michigan State or Florida, which Florida could be a tough opponent for them in the second round. Dave, you could start with Kolek. You could start with the other two guys of Cam Jones and Oso Ighodaro. What are you thinking about Marquette? I tried the name as best as possible.
You want to say Ighodaro, and I know you do, and that's exactly where that came from. Like, it's in the back of your brain.
It's Ighodaro. Ighodaro, right?
All right, yeah. But I could tell that you halfway through saying that word.
I wanted to say Dalla.
Andre Iguodala.
They got the beans pointed planet Earth. I'm taking Andre Iguodala.
There you go. Thank you, Max Kellerman. Take a lifetime. No, I think the way I want to start this off, like you nailed Kolek. Like we know who he is. He's a gritty
Mhm.
point guard, floor general. He's got a little bit of an attitude to his game, which is always fun. But like he's just that floor general. He's kind of the guy who, gives you that late first, early second vibe, a la Nemhard going to the Pacers. I don't know if he quite has that Brunson upside to his
Mhm.
game, but why not? We've seen stranger things, but like I think that he kind of gives you that, like, I'm confident taking this guy to be my backup point. Maybe he could be my starting point guard at some point in the future. He is an upperclassman, but a lot to love about his game. Just really smart player. Like Marquette runs a really proficient offense. So credit there. But the guy I really love to talk about is Cam Jones. Cam has been
Cam
killing
Jones
it.
or Calm Jones?
No, it's Cam Jones, but like he has been on a tear as of late.
Mhm.
I think that he's always been in my mind like that second guy. He in my like when I was early watching him, I was like, can I see him be like the KCP on this team? Because I do
Mhm.
kind of think like Marquette is like you get the big man passing out of Oso Iguodala a la Jokic. Like it's the college version of the Nuggets in my head is how I
Yeah.
went to look at this as far as like a framework because like okay, so we got a really good passing point guard, space the floor. Oso can pass out of the post, really smart player down there. But Cam Jones is the guy who is a bucket, and he is just dumping shots in left and right as of late. We even got to see him against Xavier, his most recent game. Just everything. He was able to facilitate. He was able to find the open guy. He was just showing off at times. It felt like, which awesome. I'll be honest, awesome seeing him do that. But it's that 3-point confidence and the fact that he is one of the better shooters in this draft class.
Mhm.
Great physical size. Like he's just strong, 6'4". And I think that there's a lot to like there about him in this draft class because you just have a guy who's a plug and play, like instant role player with that upside of like now he's showing off. Now he's got a little bit more to the game. Like maybe
Mhm.
let's not just, but he's someone who I'm really interested in out of Marquette because I think that this tournament for him is just a chance to shine, especially if Kolek doesn't make it for round one. I think
Mhm.
they could still get out of round one without Kolek.
Yeah, and with Cam Jones, the thing that I think about is, and I got to see if the other two, so I don't mess this up. You got Oso, who is an upperclassman as well. He's a senior. And then where is he? He was here. Kolek. Okay, they're all seniors, and then Cam is the junior. The worry that I'll throw all of them in there is it basically the only teams that are going to look to draft them are teams where it's like, hey, we've already like because going through the mock draft, Dave, there were a couple teams.
Yep.
Thunder being one of them. I think the Spurs off the top of my head were another one where I looked at their starting lineup and it's basically, oh, they've got their piece. Like they've got their lineup of what it's going to be, the young guys of the future. They just need dudes to fill in depth behind them. Is that basically the team that's going to look at Marquette of like, hey, any of these guys are good, but if we need a guy that's going to be like, for example, the Wizards, they need a guy that's going to step in, be in that starting lineup. They want a guy who's probably a little younger than a junior, senior in college. Is that going to be a detriment to them no matter how well they play in the tournament?
I don't think so in this, just specifically because of this class. I think this class is the ultimate, like, let's build out a roster kind of class.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing out of the NBA more often than not is, yes, at the top of the class, you always try to build out, your star players. You go for those big swings. But, like, the entirety of Marquette, I could see, like, Tyler Oso and Cam all getting picked between 20 and 45. Like, they're guys who are going to go to teams that are in the playoffs probably, who can help them off the bench and then grow into that starting role, especially Tyler and Cam. Oso, I think, is more of a unique fit just because of his skill set. He's not big enough to be a true center, but he's also not like he's not a bad player by any means. He excels at what he does. So I really would love to see him. He's more of a fit must match.
Yeah.
If you're going to build around him, because again, there's not a bunch of guys who are like 6'8", 6'9", barefoot as centers in the NBA, but he has that great court vision. Defensively, he knows exactly where he needs to be at the right place, right time kind of thing. So like smart player, I could see him succeeding, but only in certain situations. The other two, very much plug and play. Like any team who was looking for someone who can contribute, those are the guys. And again, I think both of them still can grow into starting roles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Looking at the mock of how things went out for me, the Spurs, the Thunder, and the Hawks were the three big ones of like those. I'm talking early on teams. Like obviously none of these guys are going to go third, but like the Spurs do have 7th. They could trade back, but like I agree with you. I have I have 2 of these 3 guys in the bottom 20, like 21 and below in the first round. So like it just depends on. I'll ask you this: Could a tourney performance for them before we go on to the next team? Could a big tourney performance for either of them, all 3 of them, for maybe Oso and Kolek at the most, could it boost them into a top 20 selection?
I think Kolek is the only one who has a chance just because the priority for elite ball handler, for a floor general kind of guy.
And because a lot of the point guards are kind of like, it depends on who you like and what they bring. And there's question marks with a lot of the point guards like DJ Wagner.
He is not a natural point guard. I'll just say that now. You can hate me.
I throw it out there because I know
it is
the guys that Dave hates. I got to throw it out there.
March 14th, 2024. DJ Wagner, not a draftable point guard right now. I will stand by that take. You can find me on Freezing Cold Takes maybe at some point, but I feel very, very confident in that right now. No, I think that like he is an ideal pickup for a team, maybe like the Nuggets at 27. But if he plays his way up, like, do I think he'd be the worst pickup in the world for a team like the Knicks with the Mavs pick, or even the Heat? Like a team like that, even the Sixers, if we're getting to like the very top of like, I think that, you know, right now I think our mock has the Sixers at 16, if I'm looking at this right.
Yeah.
I think that's the highest I could see him going, because I think that they're a team with championship aspirations with a healthy Joel Embiid. And if they do keep that pick, you want someone who can come in and play. And I think Kolek can do that for him.
They were an interesting team because literally as I was filling out my mock, I was with Jake Neverman, resident Sixer fan. And I asked him, who do you want there? I'll put down whatever name you want. And he said, I don't want the pick.
Yep, that's what I figured.
And the reason why I asked is, Dave, looking at Spot Rack, and this blew my mind, of course it's not going to be like this. They're going to re-sign guys.
Yeah.
Embiid, Paul Reed, that's the only guys that are under contract after the season ends. Everybody else, you're either a UFA or an RFA. Now, I assume Maxey will be back. Healed, we don't know. Toby will probably be gone, hopefully.
They can only pray.
Jake's assuming that that Daryl Morey's just going to throw a contract at Paul George if he hits free agency just because he's Paul George.
Facts.
And I saw that and it was just side note with the Sixers, very interesting. Like, oh, they have Embiid because like Paul Reed, he's under contract, but they have Embiid, and then they can basically do whatever they want with this team. It's basically we have Embiid, let's build around, let's build the perfect roster for him.
And you're re-signing Maxey to the max. You're just waiting until the last possible moment to do that, so that way you can get everybody else on contract, and then you can go over with him, and it doesn't matter because he's an RFA.
Yeah, exactly.
Those bird rights.
The second team I will throw out is the other team that you would have chose from. So we would have just talked about Marquette second, but I'll lead the way with this one with Illinois. Really, the big one is, so you got TSJ. Coleman Hawkins is also there. We'll see if like what his draft stock is of if he stays goes. 60, but baby. But TSJ is the big one for me of like. The thing I need, and you have this, you wrote this note in our notes about Zach Edey, and I'm going to bring this into TSJ of, I don't know if it's a lot about individual performance more than can you be the guy to put the team on your back and lead them through a tourney? Not win it all. Illinois doesn't have to win it all. I'm expecting at best Sweet 16, like pie in the sky is we make it out of weekend one. I'm happy with a Sweet 16, even though I would want further. Realistically, one and done, but then also I'm thinking, wow, we could get upset depending on who we match up with in that first game. Like this is something where TSJ at the minimum, I need you to be the leading scorer. I need you to dominate the game. I need an easy win in game one. win in game 2, and then after that, everything's gravy. The real important thing is I need a dominating win in that first weekend. If you play a team, because Illinois will probably be a 4 seed. If you're playing, I think it would be let's see, 16, 15, 40. If you're playing a 13 seed and you just win by 1 on a buzzer beater, yeah, you won the game, but it's like, okay, you might have dominated, but why didn't you win? I know it's a team sport. People are going to say, oh, you can't put, but basketball, it's a lot of like, if you have the best player, odds are you're going to win the game. Look at LeBron. Every team he goes to, they're instantly better just because of him.
Playing team.
I need domination from TSJ and a dominating win in that first game.
I think that's not a bad start. I think how you do it matters to a point. You say dominating, I agree, because you have to see him come out and prove that there's no shot too big for him.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a super senior, basically, in Terrence Shannon Jr., because remember, he played those Texas Tech years before Illinois.
Yep.
I want to see him 2 ways. I want to see that full-time hustle on. And honestly, I want to see him be a dog out there on defense. Like, that's the biggest thing, because, look, he can swat balls and get some steals from time to time, but a lot of time you feel that like he does the same, and I'm not going to compare him 1-to-1, but he does the same Dalton Connect does, where he takes the easier assignment on defense and he just cools his jets a little because he knows the other side of the ball. That's where he shines. I want to see him fully engaged both sides of the ball, because he can be a good defender. He is a good offensive player. Can he do both simultaneously is kind of that last, like, we got ourselves a guy here. And I'm just going to put this out there. We are only talking on the court stuff. Obviously, anything off the court comes out, whatever. Make your choices with that as you will. But as not on the court prospect, he's somebody who should be a first rounder. He's just a great college scorer. And I expect, I'm with you. I think second round is kind of the expectation. If they can get a win there, that would be huge for him.
Okay.
But really, I think it's just that consistency to his play, because I see him take it easy too much. And I don't know if that's just a product of the system, or where it's like, hey, I know I'm going to have to bust my ass, so let's not force, whatever. But literally the last game of college he can possibly play. Like, come on, man.
Hi, everybody. Just want to take a quick moment out of today's podcast to tell you about our sponsor for today, BETUS, a sports book that has it all, whether it's basketball, hockey, football, soccer, whatever you like to bet on, BETUS has you covered. And they are offering our viewers and listeners today a 125% sign-up bonus just for using our link down below in the description. So go ahead, use that link down below and get your 125% sign-up bonus, BETUS. And now, let's get back to the podcast. I shouldn't say last question. One question I have for you about TSJ, because this is something I've been sitting with.
Sure.
Where do you see him, not team, I'm talking about role, I guess is the word I'm looking for. On a team, what role in the NBA do you think TSJ is going to play? Because for me, I'm sitting here and I watch his film. Obviously, I've watched every game of his college career this year because I'm an Illinois fan. And it's like, for us, him and Coleman are like the main two. He's the main ball handler. He's really good on the fast break. But I don't see him being the main ball handler for a team in the NBA unless it's like a, Jordan Clarkson situation of like, hey, if you're in the starting lineup, you're the 2 guard, you're the off-ball dude. But if it's a second unit, hey, we might need you to run the second unit. But I don't even really know if I want him doing that.
Yeah, no, I think he's definitely an off-ball guard. Like, I know in Illinois they got Damask.
Yep.
Dumask. I can never announce.
You're asking the wrong guy with names, man.
You're right. I am. But he plays off-ball more often than not this year, and I think that's beneficial to him. I think in the NBA, he's a guy who's going to come in and be a bucket for you. I kind of view him in that, like, Tim Hardaway Jr., Kelly Oubre, like, he's a bench bucket who gets that second unit going, so you don't fall out of games when you're so like what
Malik Monk is doing right now for the Lakers.
You know what? That's actually not the Lakers, the Kings.
Kings, you're right. I'm living in the past.
Yeah, that's not bad. I love Monk. I was a huge fan of the moist one. I never really put the comp together because physically he's just so much stronger than Malik Monk, especially. I mean,
I'm just talking the same role, like Monk coming off the bench, putting up points.
Yeah, I think he could do a serviceable job in that kind of role. Absolutely. He's not my bench point guard, but he is the guy to make sure that like when my main scorer comes out the game, we're not going to fall behind. He is there to keep the pressure on the defense and attack. So I think that, and situationally, if he can bust together that defense enough, he can be out there with a starting unit on the wing. Like he can defend 2s and 3s. Like he's not like a total blow by guy.
Yeah. Next one, I'm going to let you decide. Usually I'm the one throwing them at you. I got one I can throw at you because I'd love to get your take, but I want to know what Dave's thinking. Who do you want to talk about?
Personally.
Give me all the personals.
Let me check the
Just don't dox yourself, Dave. We don't want that.
I love that. I mean, if we got time.
We got all time in the world.
I'm just going to say the word UConn out loud. Because UConn has everyone on their roster. Everyone that's starting lineup can go in this NBA draft. Starting at the top, obviously, you have Stephen Castle.
Castle and Klingon.
Yeah, you got Castle.
Mr. Klingon.
Castle is such a weird case of a prospect who his high school tape is awesome because he's just a gunner. He's out there taking these deep threes, playing with all the confidence, creative passing, like all this stuff that gives you like, I'm not going to say like old and one mixtape because it's not that, but like it gives you like those vibes of just like this guy has an it factor to his game that makes him special. And watching him in like the highly competitive like 5-on-5 tournament stuff, you see him stand out from other guys. And even like Modest Bazelis was in one of the earlier interviews this year was talking about like how Castle was the guy who stood out to him even. So like he gets props. He is that guy who's seen, he's got good size. But he's been kind of this role player at UConn. He's this super role player over there where he's not asked to be a scorer for them. They've got 2 great guards who are upperclassmen who we'll talk about in a minute. So basically he is this like pick and roll ball handler. Sometimes he's a defender who switches 1 through 4. And in college, he's guarding some 5s out there because he's like 6'6". He's strong. His shot is the only thing that's bizarre because he seemingly lost a lot of confidence in it. He was injured early this year. And as the year's gone on, he's taken very few threes. He is more than likely to pull the ball down and attack the rim. He's not even doing it with like a ton of force and a little bit of finesse to his game. It's a weird situation where you had one idea for this guy's profile coming into the year, and then UConn has kind of given him a totally different role. Yeah. And he's doing a great job at it. But at the same time, I'm going like, so if he can be an A+ role player and he still has like upside to be like that dude on offense for me, and he's a switchable defender, like what am I missing here about? I mean, like I'm assuming the 3-point shot.
There's got to be a weakness. Let me find it.
Well, so the weakness is the 3-point shot and the 3-point shot confidence. I don't know if he is like reworking the shot from like college.
And also if the
high school to college,
if the 3-point shot's a problem in college, that line's only going to go back in the NBA. It doesn't get shorter, it gets longer.
Yeah. Well, it's not like he was taking shallow threes in high school, to be fair. He was dropping bombs. And again, that makes me question more. I'm like, it's just a weird situation that we're watching unfold. And I think that's the key to his success right now, in my eyes, in the tournament, because we've seen him do everything else, like literally every role on that court. And I really want to see him let it rip from 3 a couple of times and just not hesitate. And that is the big thing for me for Castle, because he checks every other box of like what you want in an NBA wing. So as like, okay, a jumbo ball handler, because he could be a 1, he could be a 2, he could be a 3. Let me just asterisk.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, UConn, you know the guy I'm gonna want to talk about. Yeah. You know exactly who. Who is it, Dave? Tell me who. Klingon. We talked about him. Yeah, it's Klingon. I'm going to call him Klingon because the Star Trek thing, even though I'm a Star Wars guy. But like the reason why I think, so we talked about him on Only the Bulls. Yes. And then as I'm going through the mock draft, the thing I love about him even more has nothing to do with his play.
Really?
It just the teams that are there that could draft him. Like obviously we talked about the Bulls. I would love for him to be the Andre Drummond replacement, the backup to Vuce. There's a part of me that goes the Thunder at 10. They could be. So the note I have for them. Let me find it. So they have 2 of their centers are free agents. We'll see. Like draft happens before free agency, so that's the weird thing. So you have 2 centers that are free agents, and I'm like, he could be that difference, that polar opposite to Chet, where it's like bigger body. Yeah. I'm not frail. Hey, we need someone who's going to play defense and be like a big body to clog up the lane, put him down there. The Trailblazers, like if they don't go, like it depends on
dominate, and
I don't.
He's having a career peak right now. 4 games in a row where he's looked good.
I personally am not a fan of Ayton. I will never be a fan of Ayton, even if he wins a ring. The Trailblazer one just depends. Does Sar fall to them? Do they move up after the lottery? Do they take like a Topic or a Risher or a Reed Shepherd? Like, do they go with any of there, or do they just, no matter where they are, Sar's the guy because that's the one that they might think fits better. It's like and also the Pelicans. The Pelicans, I think, are a team that has, now I expect Jonas Valanciunas to be back, but they have a ton of front court people that are free agents. So it's like, I don't know where he could go. He could go to a plethora of teams.
He has a wide range. And again, that's part of it is because it's how much do you want to gamble on a big who's already had lower body injuries?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's already missed time this year. He missed time last year. Missed time in high school. So we have a history. But at the same time, we have a dominant big who is just ungodly at rim protection. When he's on the court, the percentages people shoot around him just falls off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
So great upside.
Mm-hmm.
And even there was, every year it gets me, but you get the practice shots of like, hey, look, this guy's stretching the floor from 3.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you like a 7-footer who can shoot from 3? I'm sorry, 7'2" guy who can shoot from 3. We talked about during the Only the Bulls episode where he did put on some weight.
Mm-hmm.
He muscled up this offseason, maybe to his own detriment. I think some front offices might see that. Zach Edey took the opposite way, slimmed down, and seeing great results. So I'm a little curious if maybe this was just like, he's a college kid. He's finding his right spot for his body.
Yeah.
And an NBA front office and training staff would be able to help work with him to get him to the right spot to stay on the court most often.
Mm-hmm.
You got to treat him a little bit maybe like Robert Williams, where he doesn't play, 30 minutes a night. He might be a 20-minute guy, but it might be like 24 minutes of incredibly high motor, like whatever, that he just shuts people down for. So you got to use him maybe strategically. So I think that all those things kind of vary in is like how high you want to take someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if we're just talking about like, can he be the most dominant defender in the NBA? Yes. Strong yes. So like, how much is that worth to you? Because like, if you could have Brook Lopez as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, I think maybe, like, you would go with that, right? You probably want to take a swing on that one. In a class where people are talking about how this is the worst draft class since 2013, if you have someone with like Brook Lopez upside, like peak Brook Lopez, you don't have to, suffer through like the 10 years of him just like refusing to do things.
Yeah.
You just go right to peak Brook Lopez where he's just
where he's refusing to do things.
It was him shooting the ball from outside of 6 feet. Like,
and now he's shooting it.
And now he's shooting it from 3, and he looked great, and he's somehow survived through back surgeries and whatnot, and he continues to be a critical cog in the wheel.
He just needs to be on a team that's winning, Dave. That's just what he needed.
Bro, the Lakers got rid of him for like nothing, and it's still one of those like, what are we doing?
What's with the Lakers and bigs? Andrew Bynum, like post Shaq, Andrew Bynum had that workout. Timothy Mozgov had that workout. Brook Lopez had that workout. What, AD's the only one that's like, AD's like this though. Some days it's like, wow, I'm the best, and I'm doing the first thing that someone's ever done since steals were invented. And then the other side is not against the Kings.
As long as it's not against the Kings, I think he's 0-10. Brutal stat for him. But yeah, I think that Klingons just got incredible upside potential because of his physical gifts and his defensive instincts, and the fact that like, he can throw the ball out of the post. He can take some shots. So like, you want to buy in. You want to talk about somebody who was projected as a top 5 pick going into the year. Like, how low are we gonna get are you gonna get this guy at like 10, at 8, at 12? You know, like there's a lot of reasons why he's bouncing around boards, and you see that variance on him. But yeah, I love him as a prospect. There's so much to his game.
Guy who I'm going to throw your way, and this is just going to be, I'm going to throw it out there. Dave gets to rant and rave.
Yeah.
This guy's team, currently in Joe Lunardi's board, he's a 3 seed.
Oh, hang on. Can I just wrap up on UConn? There's still 3 more guys.
Oh, I didn't know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We could talk Alex Caravan, who is he's just gone under the radar, being like a 50, 40, 90 player in college basketball as a 6'9" wing. Like, plays decent enough defense, takes only the best shots, does not screw up, and does backdoor cutting like proficiently for a pro style UConn offense. Or you have Cam Spencer, who's an incredible shooter from outside. Yeah, he's only 6'2", but he gives you that, like, this guy could be I don't want to say it was Strus, and who was the other former Miami Heat guard? It was Strus and
former Miami Heat guard.
Yeah, because he went to the Lakers and then instantly had a Lakers problem with his leg, I think. They signed him this past offseason. He hasn't really played a bunch.
Not all.
Strus, and the Strus is loose, and
no, what's his name?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I can see his face in my head. Let's think. It's not Rui. It's not Austin Reeves. He was drafted by the Lakers. Oh, who is it?
Gabe Vincent.
Gabe Vincent. That's it.
Yeah. He could be in line with that kind of a guy who his shot's so good though, like already. So like you just got to work on like the defense and maximizing what he can do for you. Cam Spencer, like flying way under the radar. And then you still have...
So basically the Heat take him and fill... Oh, we lost Gabe Vincent? Let's get Gabe Vincent.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I just... He's very good. He is very good, and he's falling under the radar because he is like 6'1", 6'2". Like, but I still think his shot's so good.
Yeah.
We'll see what he measures in. I think that'll matter the most. And you still have Tristan Newton, who upperclassman, yes, but he just does everything. Like he gives me maybe now I feel like I'm lazy because I just want to go you said Miami Heat, so like I've got like DeLon right in my head.
Mario Chalmers,
great pickup for them. But no, like Tristan Newton, really good rebounding guard, able to attack the rim, able to shoot from deep and still facilitate. Assist turnover ratio is not terrible. So like it's just all the little things kind of work together. That's why UConn's special. They literally have 5 guys in their starting lineup. All 5 of them could get drafted or at least be on an NBA Summer League roster this year is my expectation.
I have a personal question for you before we get into the guy I was going to throw out because you just sparked this in my head.
Sure.
So for point guard rankings, Toppich and Reed are the top.
Top of the board.
On your board, who is 3, Rob Dillingham or Stephen Castle? And is there a way for Castle to, if Castle is 4,
I wouldn't classify Castle as a point guard is the difference.
Because a lot of them have 1, 2. Yep. Like if people are looking point guard, I'll throw this out then. Player in general. If you're looking at him or Rob Dillingham, who you making the case for?
Of Castle and Rob Dillingham.
Yes. Who do you think is the better player for a team to draft if they're just drafting like,
it depends on the team, man. It depends on the team because Castle gives me those vibes. You remember when the Miami Heat took Justice Winslow? I know I'm on Miami Heat kick, but like Justice Winslow point guard. That's kind of the vibe of like what I get from Castle sometimes where it's like, but I know Justice was I think 6'8" and Castle's only 6'6". But still, that jumbo guy who can be a 1 through 4 for you, maybe a little Andre Iguodala, maybe a little bit, but like more primary ball Andre, less, late in life role player. But like that's the kind of like. So I think that if you want that all around package versus Rob Dillingham, where it's just like you could be getting Darius Garland. Like, there's straight up, this kid's electric.
There's 2 teams that I'm going to throw your way. You got to pick who's the better fit, Dillingham or Castle.
Okay.
First one, a team near and dear to your heart, Day, because they got a guy that you love at the 5, avoided a major injury, I believe, of late. Houston Rockets. You taking Dillingham or you taking Castle? They have Holiday and Bullock, who are going to be free agents at the end of the year.
I'm taking Castle. I think that Ime Udoka loves the dog on defense that Castle brings to the table. He's switchable. He's big. And that's exactly, that whole team is just, I think Dillingham would be great on the team. Don't get me wrong. Because like behind Fred, they truly do need another primary ball handler. Amen Thompson could be that guy. But in the same vein, like having a lineup with like Amen Thompson, Com Whitmore, Stephen Castle, either Atari Eason, Jabari Smith, like you just have all these big physical athletes who can switch everywhere. This is Ime Udoka's dream. So yeah, we're taking Castle.
The other team is the team right behind them right now.
Yep.
You've got Kira Lewis Jr., Chris Dunn, THT, all free agents. Who would the Jazz want?
They have Keontae George already. I'm just going to say
they need a backup, don't they?
I would probably resign like Chris Dunn.
Okay.
If I'm being 100p with you.
Okay. If you're the Jazz, in what position
Keontae
do you
George
go
has
with?
been great. George has been great. He is the guy. You got Lowry, you got him, and I don't even know if they're on the same timeline, but I'm not drafting another potential guard to run next to him who has the same issue of being that like undersized, frail. I would say frail, but thinner build. I think that you go for, again, this is my bias, but you asked, so I would go for someone with more size. I would not take him.
So the guy I want you to talk about now, Dave.
Yeah.
Their team is probably going to be a 3 seed unless they shock and overtake a 2 seed.
Sure.
Is there anything that Jacoby Walter could do in the tournament to make Dave like him?
Fudge.
Because you do not like Jacoby Walter. It has been a couple podcasts where the Jacoby hate has come out a little bit, or the statement has been made that Dave doesn't like Jacoby Walter.
Well, I mean, like, bring it back in, Dave. Just don't let him get to you. Look, I understand that Jacoby Walter is a really good hypothetical shooter. His free throws are very polished, which means he has a repetitive shooting motion. He is a motion shooter on top of that, typically. The problem is that he is overextended in his role in Baylor. And everybody loves to point that out and be like, well, when he gets to the NBA, he won't have to be that. So then he can just be better. And I'm like, but will he be better?
It's not always a 1-to-1 transfer.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe that, because he is struggling at times. And his shot volume, I don't know how much that is his choice versus forced. Because a lot of time when I'm watching Baylor, I see Ray J go out there and he is all at it. And he's like that guy. And like he has that it factor to him. Meanwhile, like Jacoby kind of like, he'll take shots, but it does not seem the same way. There's something lacking in like the way he attacks offensively and defensively. He just pissed me off. He's one of the worst guards in college basketball defensively, like who is a NBA prospect on one end, but on the other end, you are like killing me right now. Him and Rob Dillingham, like both. Could you do something defensively to make me not hate you? Well, like, here's the thing. He's also in the best situation. Like they both, there's a lot of similarities actually here. Yeah. Because they both have great defensive centers behind them. Onyenso on Kentucky, phenomenal defensive center. I think he had like an 8-block game this year. He's just physically imposing the paint. And then you got Missy in Baylor, who is going to be probably a top 25 pick, maybe even a little higher. Some people are very high on him, but like he's got a lot to his game, but one of the best defenders in college basketball. So like both these guys might rely a little bit too much on the fact that, so what if I get blown by? I've got one of the best defensive centers in basketball behind me sometimes.
Sometimes.
His shot's not good enough to warrant how high he is talked about. Like everybody talks about like, oh, well, what if he is the next Keontae George, just like he was in the wrong role in college? And like, I don't see that. Like Keontae George had those sparks, had those moments where it was just like, yeah, this guy's got magic to his game, but all the dots haven't quite connected yet. You'd see him make like this jaw-dropping move on the outside to get to the paint and attack the rim, and you just watch it like kind of collapse 3/4 way through, and you're like, he's going to be able to finish that soon. It's there. He's just not 100% there in game speed.
Yeah.
Jacoby Walter made a killing off murdering teams who were just bad at basketball early in the year, and has been on this horrid cold stretch. And it's just like, if we're gonna praise you for you just beating up on talentless teams in college basketball, like, how do you not have Justin Edwards above him? That's my question. I don't understand. Like, what do I not want the guy who has better size, better position, and is a better shooter seemingly? Like, he kind of gives me like, maybe he might be a role player, but his bottom end might be role player, where you are like, do I want to say it?
Go ahead.
Book night.
Oh, okay.
Good night. Book night. Like, levels of like, you're not playable.
Yeah.
You're not playable at times. And even, I want to check something real quick.
Go ahead.
The one thing that everybody says coming in, like, not everybody, but everyone had talked about like movement shooting, and the parallels of him and Jordan Hawkins. Because Jordan Hawkins last year at UConn was critical to their success.
Yeah.
This guy running off screens left and right at UConn was their entire system, and it was awesome. On Ajax was great for them, but Jordan Hawkins was that dude. And watching how well he thrived there and was able to pop off in the tournament, I'm like, if there's a chance for Baylor, it's on the back of him. It's on Jacoby Walter to get hot at the right time. And meanwhile, Jordan Hawkins in the NBA, I know you're playing for a loaded Pelicans team, but he's got some Terry Rozier splits, man.
I was gonna say there was one. I know this from personal.
Some strong Terry Rozier splits, and who's the other guy? Devontae Graham. Like, that's Devontae Graham, obviously much shorter than both of these guys, which to his own detriment, like, has kind of screwed him out of the league. But those shooting splits do not give me. I don't want a guy like that. That's not who I like. Personal preference. I like guys who can make more shots, who are going to take those kind of shots. But yeah, that's my hate rant's over.
There's one team I'm going to throw out there, and they play. Let's see if I'm looking at this. They play tonight. So they played last night. They basically destroyed they destroyed. They played Air Force. You play Air Force, that's a dub.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And they played.
Because they couldn't beat them about 3 weeks before that in scrutiny, Ricky. 2 weeks before that, whatever it was. Yeah.
They're playing Boise State tonight, and personally, I hope that they do not win against Boise State tonight because I have Boise State money line. But this is a team, Dave, that it's New Mexico.
Yeah.
For those of you out there.
Everybody else, yeah.
For those of you who didn't know and aren't like being like, oh, Ricky, who are you talking about? This is a team that's weird, Dave, because I'm throwing these guys out here because they're not in the tournament yet. But they're in. I think they're either in the first four in or the second four out, or first four out, second four out. They're in that. They're on the outside looking in, and if they find a way to beat Boise State tonight, all they have to do is survive Friday and survive Saturday. Easier said than done, because I think. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to, because tonight we also have Nevada, who I like, against Colorado State. Nevada beat Colorado State both times in the regular season. I'm learning a lot about how it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season, as Toledo today, even though I just needed points. I didn't even need a win. So I like Nevada tonight. Nevada should play Boise State tomorrow, but let's say New Mexico wins. So you got Nevada tomorrow if Nevada wins. Then the other games, you got UNLV, San Diego State. This one's a toss-up to me. A lot of people I see like UNLV
plays up, but yeah.
I think I'm going to go with San Diego State just to put a team out there. But let's be honest, Utah State should beat. I think they're playing Fresno tonight. They should beat Fresno. They should then win on Friday. So basically, New Mexico, you got to beat Boise. You got to possibly beat Nevada. You then got to beat Utah State. It's a tall mountain to climb, but the reason why I'm saying it, Dave, is for the guys. And these guys, I haven't really heard much draft talk about them because they're second rounders. But there's a part of me that goes, if the Lobos from New Mexico can find a way into the tournament, let's be honest. I'll ask it this way. Do Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn Jr., do they even need to make the tournament to get drafted in the second round, or even need to make the tournament to get signed by an NBA team because of, and this is going to sound like a little bit of nepotism here, but
it is.
They got daddy's last name. So, hey, I don't need to make the tournament because I'll be fine. A team will want to sign me just because I got daddy's last name, and they'll take a shot on me.
What's funny is they're the third and fourth best player on the team.
Yeah, they are. Last year, different story.
JT Toppin is the best player on this team, has defensive numbers that rival Ryan Dunn's, but he's 3 years younger. Yeah. He's dominant. He's everything you want in a player, and he will be drafted. Donovan Dent.
You want to know how good Toppin is, Dave? Every time I watch the Lobos, when he gets into foul trouble, that's all the announcers want to talk about. 6 minutes later, he's still in foul trouble. He's been off the bench. Where is he?
He's young, but he's incredibly gifted, like athletically, instincts-wise. He's not related to Obi Toppin. Just to clarify for people out there who are...
There's not a third Toppin brother out there?
You can Google it, as I did. He is related to somebody else, though. I forget the name, but he is related to someone. But JT Toppin is the guy defensively who everybody who talks up Ryan Dunn should be really talking about JT Toppin. It's not even like, I have no idea why you would still be on that. Whatever. JT Toppin's got the upside.
You think he's a for sure second round pick, or is there, if they make
he is a first round pick if people pay attention.
So what you're saying is
they should be looking.
The tournament is more important to see, because the thing that I'm looking at, and this is like my point with the New Mexico Lobos, I feel like they need the tournament to put the national eyes on them.
They do.
Because who's watched them? Me, because I've gambled on some of their games.
Me, because I was looking at prospect. The other guy is Dent, who is a
Harvey?
Crazy. No.
Harvey Dent?
Where is she?
Attorney
No. Donovan Dent. He's this weird point guard prospect who, because of their system, doesn't play like a traditional point guard, but ends up moving the ball around a lot for them and setting guys up. Really intriguing. I'm not sure if he comes out this year. He's only a sophomore, but he's the other guy who you watch him and he stands out. He's the engine that runs the system there. Jamal Mashburn Jr., chucker. Don't give he's 6'1", maybe. He'll be in a practice squad. He'll be in the G League. Great for him. I don't have a ton of upside. He doesn't have the size, and his game is the way the NBA used to be played 15 years ago.
So he's his dad.
I don't love it. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
He will be on a roster, but that's just not for me. And House, not good enough.
NBA roster or G League roster?
G League.
Okay.
G League. He'd be good in Europe, though. He'd be really good in Europe. That's where I think he should go. But he might want to try to stick around the NBA a little bit longer, so he'll go G League.
But you think
that's just the way I sees it?
But you think House is totally not even?
I don't think so.
Worth it.
No. I hate being the negative guy, but
interesting.
I don't see it happening for him.
Well, let's be honest. They're probably not going to make the tournament because they're going to lose tonight to Boise State.
Good chance. But yeah, JT Toppin and Dent are your two guys if they do make it. JT should go first round. Dent maybe a late second, but honestly, I think he should come back to college with those two upperclassmen, nepotism kids gone, and see what he can do. Genuinely, I think that if him and JT both come back, like if JT goes to the combine for whatever reason, doesn't get like the promise he wants for like a late one, and he comes back to college, he could go higher. Like there's a chance that him and Dent together could absolutely kill it in college and go higher. But it's where he gets the feedback from, where the agent and everybody else is kind of at. Because I think those are the two stars of this team.
I gotta find it. I'm gonna find it while I ask you, Dave. Is there another team or more players that you want to talk about? I feel like I'm throwing out a lot. I see on our Notion there's a couple teams that Dave's got a lot of stuff written down for. Dave's like, where do I go?
Let me scroll through this. Okay, so let's talk Creighton. Is Creighton a lock to be in this? Yes, they absolutely are. Creighton will be a high seed. Don't know which yet. Prediction is 2 right now, but we'll see. So they got 3 guys. Baylor Shireman, Trey Alexander, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Kalkbrenner's easy. He is upperclassman, big, swats the out of the ball. Offensively, like, he's not terrible. He's serviceable. He's a serviceable backup big in the NBA, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's like, you know how Colin Castleton kind of came out of Florida last year? I think he's in the same kind of level of like, he should translate. It might take him a year in the G League, but like backup bigs in the NBA are valuable. So I think, you know, like undrafted free agent, he'll be pretty high on that list. Trey Alexander's a guy who last year tested the waters, measured in really well. I think he was maybe like 6'4.5" barefoot, but like 6'11" wingspan, something like that. It's all out there right now. But because he already got measured, we already know he has incredible physical gifts.
Yeah.
This year was a bit of an experiment year for Creighton. They tried to play him as a traditional point early in the year, and he struggled mightily. Thanks to him kind of settling in, he's kind of regained some confidence in his game. He's a do-it-all, like two guard, and there's a lot to love about him because he can do it all, and defensively he just has the ability to create havoc with that crazy wingspan, like just still upside even though he's an upperclassman. And then third, Baylor Shireman is just he is the amoeba of that team because, like I said, they tried Trey Alexander at point, they tried some other guys. Baylor's just been that guy. He's just good. He's good at basketball. He's an incredible rebounder for his size. And I don't know that he would ever be a starter, but he's absolutely like a backup player. And he's like, you know, a seventh man, eighth man on the bench kind of guy. Just because he's got a good shot, he's active, very, very active. So like they got three guys who should be, you know, in the in summer league at least. And like two guys who probably should be on like G League two-way kind of contracts at least. So they're a fun team. They've had some success. They've had some struggles. So it's hard to get too hot on any one of these guys. Like Trey Alexander, I really wanted to like. He was, you know, like a 15 for me to start the year, and he's just slowly fallen down the board because it feels like everybody else has kind of outshined him as. You learned his own limitations in college. Yeah. You're like, maybe there's not the same level of like upside that I had projected for you at one point in time. But is it better to know that a guy's capped in one area than to hope that he's not and strike out and fail? I don't know. It's a weird thing where I'm just like, maybe.
The thing I'm sitting at with it is I look at Creighton and this is all based on Joe Lunardi and what he has written down.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. The thing that I like about them is they could have moments to shine because of the matchups. Like if they're matched up with Sam Houston, like Sam Houston's good, but Creighton should. That's not an upset I'm looking at. That's not like middle Tennessee over Michigan State. Then either Drake or Texas Tech. Both those teams are good, but I think Creighton can get by either of those. Like, I think they can go to the Sweet 16, and then on top of it, I love except for one team, Wisconsin. I love every other team on the other side of their mini bracket. Love Duke, love Vermont, love Virginia, love Colorado. Like any of those teams. Is
Colorado in for sure?
They're going to be a play-in. They'll probably be on the bubble.
Team we can talk about.
Colorado and Virginia right now he's got as the play-ins. Like Colorado, they I think they won last night.
They did
win. They play who do they play tonight? Not Oregon. Do they play Oregon tonight?
No, Oregon
plays UCLA tonight or today.
They just won actually. Oregon won 67-65 over UCLA.
67-65, so that was closer. The Bruins covered. It was 5.5, I think was that line.
As we record,
I gotta look up who does Colorado play, because I know Washington State plays Stanford, Oregon played UCLA, Utah. They played Utah. Utah beat Arizona State last night. Arizona State beat Utah twice this year. Utah won the third. It just here's the thing: if a team I'm just gonna start doing this. If a team beat you twice in the regular season, just bet the other team.
Law of odds, at some point they're going to get their win.
Any of those matchups. The one thing, Dave, I did want to say, I found the post I was looking for.
Sure.
It was a tweet from 2 or 3 weekends ago. The tweet was the 4 horsemen of damn, I'm getting old, or damn, I'm old. Here's the 4 players they showed, Dave. Mm-hmm. At TCU, a senior, Jameer Nelson Jr., a freshman at Buffalo. Buffalo will not be in the tournament. They are god-awful. Freshman at Buffalo, Anquan Bolden Jr.
Anquan Bolden Jr., you don't say.
Michigan State should be in the tournament. Freshman, Antonio Gates Jr. And then at Southern Miss for the Golden Eagles, Jr., we've seen him on the football field, Frank Gore Jr.
Yeah.
Jameer Nelson, Anquan Bolden, Antonio Gates, and Frank Gore.
I mean, we already had Randy Moss's kid, too. Like, he already hit the NFL.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. It's wild.
Damn, I'm getting old.
And we got Bronny James. I mean, he's likely going to be back in college next year. A lot of people are saying.
You think? But, see, I do that. That's a topic for another day. That's a time for another day.
I know.
Did ESPN did Giovanni, whatever you say his name?
Gavoni.
Did he know things? And everyone called him stupid, but that's besides the point. Colorado. Is it just Cody Williams? Is that the big thing? Is it just Cody Williams, Dave?
Hell no.
Is it just
Cody
Jay Will's brother?
Third best player on the team.
I love how all the guys that are like, wow, he's one of the best ranked in the class. He's not even the best player on the team.
KJ Simpson is an electric guard in college basketball. He's junior. He's gotten better every single year. Mm-hmm. He carries that team offensively. Tristan da Silva is a 4 super upperclassman who is just, he's like slow-mo if he had a better 3-point shot. Yeah. He's a really gifted passer for a wing, smart player, not terrible defensively, but not amazing. Like, he'll get by on the court, but he makes his money on offense. Like, those are the 2 guys who have a chance to really make their impression on a big stage. Like KJ, I haven't seen him ranked anywhere near boards, and I think he's a first-round value. I think as a point guard as it goes, like, there's not much to dislike about KJ's game. But Cody, we talk Cody Williams, who is one of the best prospects in college basketball. The biggest problem with Cody, and I'm gonna check real quick because I don't want to say something and then not say something. But
by the way, while you're looking that up, I will say Joe Lunardi, this was updated today. We're recording this on Thursday at 2:30 in the morning Central Time. It was updated by Joe Lunardi. Perfect. He's added a spot where it's like winning in, out or out without this win, and then win here and then win again. Colorado versus Utah falls into the, if Colorado loses, they are out unless they win this game. So if Colorado loses to Utah, he believes Colorado will be out of the tournament if they lose today.
Wow. I'm just
The win and ins are Mississippi State and Virginia today. If they win, they're in.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, let me get back. So yeah, Tristan da Silva, KJ Simpson, both phenomenal players, both offensively uber gifted. Yeah. Good enough defensively, I believe, to contribute the next level. Like out the gates, should be good to go. Cody Williams, his biggest problem: this kid disappears. He is a non-factor for large chunks of basketball games, and wouldn't you think that one of the best prospects in the class, would be a dominant force in college basketball? And I understand, like he was wearing the mask for a while, that threw him off. Like, obviously, he wasn't all the way back when he came back right away, so his numbers looked worse. But again, he's just, for someone with his size and, in theory, athleticism, should be much, much, much better at the game of basketball than he is. And he's just extremely passive at times. And it's like, why? Why aren't you showing out and shining in the biggest moments? And I think that's the thing we just want to see out of him. Like, give me one good game in the tournament. I just need one game in the tournament where he goes in there with confidence and plays with that confidence. Like, his 3-point shot's a little slow. He hasn't hit one in a minute, but like, it's still just the fact that Colorado team seemingly does better sometimes when he's not on the court. And it's like, I don't hate him as a prospect. He's still a top prospect, but like, there's just that, like, I want him to be better than he's showing me right now, because on paper, he should be a very good player. But what we're seeing out of him is not that translating to the game. And I have to ask myself if it's the college, if it's the college system, and then, like, will he be better in the NBA suited around NBA talent, or will he continue to fade and take that, like, tertiary role going forward? And, like, do we feel good about taking a guy like that, where you see, like, someone like Stephen, like Castle, who is in that, like, role, who can be upside. He's already a great role player, but he has that upside to be, like, the guy for you, because you've seen it at times. Meanwhile, Williams, I don't know. I'm starting to walk him down. Starting to walk him down the board, because I'm not seeing the guy on my team. I know wings are the most important thing.
So is he no longer the fourth best prospect behind Reed Sheppard? Well, Reed Sheppard's the best college prospect. Let's be Reed Sheppard passed him. You want to know how I can tell, Dave, that Reed Sheppard has passed him, or that the conversation is still going on, Dave? You want to know how I can tell this?
How's that, Tankathon?
No, has nothing to do with Tankathon. We recorded two episodes ago. So for us, it was one episode ago. Yeah, we did is Reed Sheppard a top 3 pick, Dave. Yep. We did that on March 2nd, nearly 12 days ago. And it is still getting views. It's up over 500. So, like, because that's still getting views, I know that people don't see Cody Williams as a better pick than Reed Sheppard, or at least the discussion is still there.
Reed Sheppard kind of popped off just a little against Tennessee in the second half of a game that unfortunately we did not get to watch live for reasons I will not get into.
Thank God I didn't take that under. Thank God I didn't take that under.
Incredible second half.
It was an incredible second half
from Dalton Knecht and Reed Sheppard. And Rob Dillingham had some moments, and Antonio Reeves had some moments. Let's just talk about Kentucky, man. Kentucky's got dudes.
I'm surprised it took over nearly an hour for us to get to Kentucky.
I didn't want to get to Kentucky right away.
We've talked about them enough. We talk about them all the time.
I mentioned names. We talked a little Dillingham early.
Yep.
I don't know if that was during the pre-show or the show.
No. It's a show. I asked you about him and Castle. It was the UConn part.
Cool. So yeah, you got Reed Sheppard, who seemingly gives you maybe the best prospect in college basketball. Still arguable, but still the numbers are just absurd. They're absolutely absurd. You just don't have volume and scoring at that level of efficiency. That level of passing, creating turnovers, all the things he does for you. And he's 6'1.5", 6'2" tops. And it's just like, couldn't you just be 6'4" so I could take you number 1 and not feel guilty? Like, just be 6'4". Why is that so hard for you, man? Yeah. But instead he's 6'2", maybe. And that's the only argument. Like, he's still athletic. He's still very good at basketball, but he's just not tall enough, maybe. It's the only question against him, really, at this point. Defensively, yeah, he could do things better. He could fight. I literally wrote down, fight through a screen for sake. Like, because he just dies sometimes. And it's just, the dude is all the energy. He is maybe the best inbound passer in college basketball. He has the brain to match with the hands. He is just, nothing but love for that kid. Like I said, Dillingham, incredible shooter. He's a microwave out there for them. He's a tempo changer, which is very nice, because he kind of senses when the game is going, and he's just like, hey, we need to get some points. I can do that. I can take over. I can take, the next 3 possessions and make them mine, and we will be better off for that. So love Rob Dillingham and the fact that he's got that factor to his game. Antonio Reeves, upperclassman. He's their leading scorer. I like him, but I don't know how much of his game will translate to the NBA when he's not just bigger, stronger, faster than everybody else around him as an upperclassman. And so he's probably going to be a second rounder, but it's a wait and see situation for him. Zvonimir, Jesus, man. Just, he's so frustrating. He has no fit on this team. I still remember watching him play his first 2 games and being like, that's exactly who we should be. Like, everyone was excited for Ade Mara, and instead, like, we should have been talking about Zvonimir. And then all of a sudden, he just can't stay on the floor. He is killing them defensively. Like, he is just, he can't be on the floor right now. he really needs to have a good tournament. I could also see him stay in college. I could see him go transfer back, not transfer. I could see him just go back to play in Europe. His brother's in Europe. He could go play in Europe again and be fine. Like, he's just in a weird position because he's shown clearly where he struggles, but the upside offensively is where he can absolutely earn his money, and he hasn't had the chance to show that. So if you get a tourney game where he can turn it on and string together like 12 good minutes, that's all it takes to get in this draft class. This draft class is not the biggest gaps of separation, but the guy who's stopping him, Onyenso, he has been a force. The dude is a ball of energy down there, and I just love watching him play. He swats the shit out of everything he can. He may need to bring it down about a notch or two as far as, trying to take people's heads off when he's going up for blocks. He bites early and often on pump fakes. So if you have a veteran savvy team, you could get him in foul trouble. But he is very nice as a prospect.
Well, the thing that I'm looking at, and yet again,
and then Justin Edwards.
The thing that I just want to throw in here, and this is interesting because the whole thing that, like, the idea of this is, how's a tourney going to do? And the thing with Kentucky is, if their bracket ends out anywhere near what Joe Lunardi thinks, their first section, Morehead State, very capable of Kentucky
should be able to beat
them.
Morehead State.
Morehead State's good, but they're not like Kenneth Fareed Morehead State. They're not that.
The Manimal.
Then you have either Clemson and then either the play-ins of St. John's and Indiana State. All three of those teams are good.
Indiana State.
No, you don't, but all three of those teams are good, but I see Kentucky beating all three of those teams. Then Sweet 16, let's be honest, Oklahoma and Colgate, thanks for coming to the show. I like Gonzaga and North Carolina more. However, North Carolina, Gonzaga, I'll be honest, I'm not high on, like, North Carolina would be a faux 2 seed to me. And Gonzaga, they're a team that they can look like end of the regular season against St. Mary's or WAC championship against St. Mary's. You don't know which Gonzaga team you're going to get. They're not the Gonzaga of old.
No,
I like Kentucky in both of those matchups. That means theoretically you're looking at the other side, and there's some teams that I like there. South Carolina, Texas has been playing well. Nebraska has been playing well. But I think we could be in line for UConn, Kentucky, Elite Eight.
I'm going to run UConn,
UConn would be the 1 seed.
North Carolina will stop Kentucky. Okay. Worst case scenario in my mind. I don't see them making that through there. Kentucky has got all the talent in the world. All the talent in the world. But if Baycott can hit his free throws, North Carolina should be able to make it through them.
Like that's can he? Can he?
I don't know. He's still in college, Ricky.
Therefore, there's college players and free throws. Don't even get me started.
I don't know why he can't. I don't know why it's a struggle every single year for him to make free throws. RJ Davis is a phenomenal college basketball player. He's built for moments like this. This is his life. This is his Super Bowl. This is his peak, probably. He is not big enough to play in the NBA. He's probably going to go to Europe if he continues playing basketball and doesn't, whatever, into like a 6th year of college or something. Like, this is his jam. And then Harrison Ingram has been a fantastic wing for them. I wanted to say that.
Yep. You almost did 3 in a row. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep. Trying to not do that. He's just a fantastic wing player for them. He's a great defender, switchable. Dude is grabbing every rebound he possibly can that Baycott doesn't sometimes. He can shoot. He can pass. He's asked to do a lot, but he can. He's capable. He's a former top 100 player when he was coming into college. It's just taken him time, and he has transformed his body. You see the pictures of him from his freshman year of college to now. He's packed on so much muscle. He's a different human being.
So it's like I think North Carolina. Did he go to the Io DeSumo School of Body Transformation?
Seriously. But he's bigger. He's just bigger than Io. He's 6'9" or something. So North Carolina, they should be the big dog on that side. So I just Baycott needs to realize again that, like, It's March. I need to have double-digit rebounds. No problem. Like without that's me breathing in the game. I checked in. I should have double-digit rebounds, and I need to hit my free throws, and I need to dominate guys in the paint who aren't 6'8".
Mm-hmm. I just also think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kentucky's a better coached team than North Carolina is.
Probably.
I'll take Calipari right now. Like that, Roy Williams ain't coming out there for the Tar Heels.
I know. I'm just Kentucky rotationally has frustrated me so much, but I feel like as of late they've been.
Watch Reed Shepherd just go, "Hey Dave, that's nice. Hold my beer. Hold my beer, Dave."
That's literally my whole argument was the fact that we're playing two guards who are clearly worse than their best two guards because of their names.
Nepotism.
So
that wouldn't really be nepotism. That's just.
It's very frustrating when you got Reed Shepherd and Dillingham and you made him come off the bench for the first 25 games because reasons. Like, is that a good coach to you?
Reasons. No.
We're just not going to play our best players all the game.
But Dave, it's all about the system and how that fits together and blah, 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 something.
Exactly. So that is the only thing that would hold Kentucky back. Yeah. They have all the talent in the world.
Well, Dave, we're getting to that point where I am looking at the time and we have talked a long time. And I told this to Soapy, and I don't know if everyone knows this. It's the only setback we have with the website. When it comes to audio, we only get an hour and 20 minutes, or else I got to split it up into two parts. And there's a part of me that really, so I got a little bit of time, so I'll rant a little bit. A part of me doesn't like to do that because how many people will listen to part one and then listen to part two? And then it's like, oh, well, this part is like 40 and where to cut it off. It's just a headache. So we might have to do a version of this again after some games happen. Hey, who are guys we didn't talk about? Let's check in.
Let me throw out some quick names now then. If
Go ahead. We got 10 minutes. I'll give you 5 at the most.
Dude, I don't even need 5. I was going to go way faster than that. Auburn, you got John Broome. Mm-hmm. He's one of the best bigs in college basketball. Absolutely will be a draft pick. Absolutely will play at the next level. He's kind of flown under the radar a lot of his career, but he's kind of put it all together. He does a little bit of everything for you as a big. Mm-hmm. Dayton going to make it, right?
They should, yeah. They were not in his last, and they should be in.
Holmes. Can someone explain to me how Holmes is not a lottery pick?
I have no idea.
He's a 6'10" center who can pass, shoot, dribble. Mm-hmm. He can defend. He's got great block numbers. What are we missing? He's athletic. I don't quite get why, other than the fact that he's Dayton. So yeah, this should be a spotlight for him. If he can have one good game in the tournament, put him on people's radar again. He seems forever locked in the second round for whatever weird reason. But statistically, again, absolutely deserved to be top 20 pick. Who else have I missed so far? South Kakalaka, we already talked Colin Murray Boyles.
We mention him all the time.
I will keep mentioning him because he's going to be great in college. I don't know what he'll be in the NBA yet, but who cares? We'll figure that out. Houston. We got a team that probably should be a top competitor for
They're one of the 1 seeds.
Should be the one, yep, and could go all the way. Sheed is the guy. He's the leader in college. He's short, but he is incredibly talented. He's a good shooter. Defensively, though, he is just everything. He is the heart and soul of Houston, and I think he's a guy who might get drafted because of a good tournament. All right. It's hard for guys who are 6'1" to make it in the NBA, unless you're having a Reed Shepherd type year. But I think Sheed's kind of got that going for him. Duke, we did not talk Duke, just to shout it out. Duke. Jared McCain, one of the best shooters in the draft class. Proctor, if he drops a little bit of the hesitation to his game, shows a little bit of confidence. Very, very good draft prospects. And Flip, just don't foul out, man. Just don't foul out.
And stay off the court if you see fans running onto it.
Also that. Great shout out, Ricky.
Court awareness.
You're protecting his draft.
Yeah, we need some court awareness.
All right. Yeah. I feel good. I feel like we hit the majority of players that I wrote down.
I don't know if it's awareness or cockiness of you can't run into me. I'm a basketball player. I never just court awareness. You see people running. It's like crossing a street. Oh, this car's going to stop for me. No, if you see a car coming, you have to assume that the car's not going to stop. Don't get hit by cars. Like,
you live and learn.
You do. You live and learn. You don't get hit by people storming courts. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below about everything going on in what we talked about. Also, hit that sub button, hit that like button, because the algorithm's a word, and I guess the like button is what it likes, and it feeds off that. So just click that for us. It's simple. It takes 2 seconds, not even, to go ahead and do it. Hit the Discord down below, the BETUS link, sign up for your bonus down below, and check out our Patreon. Those are all in the descriptions. Thanks to Dave, my tag team partner for this one. Thanks to you guys, and as always, have a good day, everybody. As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.